Ambassador Krell Vortex rhythmically tapped his 7 digits on the smooth, dark volcanic glass surface, attempting unsuccessfully to conceal his mounting restlessness. The Galactic Council chamber, complete with its expansive crystalline ceiling and suspended representative stations, had never appeared so constricting. "A matter of procedure," chirped Delegate Blindspark of the Centauri Federation. "We are obligated to deliberate on the commercial conflict in the Orion sector prior to—" "Oh, for the sake of the 7 celestial bodies," Krell murmured beneath his breath, his amber-flecked epidermis darkening to a more intense shade of bronze. Asterisk. Another asterisk commercial conflict. How enthralling! Ambassador Tala Reed, representing the Andromeda Alliance, directed a cautionary look his way, her bioluminescent markings shimmering with admonishment. She invariably detected his sardonic humor, even from a considerable distance. Ambassador Vortex, the council chairperson, an age-old viscous entity known as OVX Prime, oscillated somewhat. "Perhaps you would be inclined to impart your spirited observations to the entire assembly." Krell adjusted his formal garments. "Simply articulating my deep fascination with Centauri commercial statutes, chairperson. Do proceed with this utterly captivating discourse." Several representatives chuckled. Tala's markings were virtually flashing now. This was the inherent issue with being the most junior council member in 300 years. At a mere 342 years of age, Krell was deemed scarcely sufficiently developed to stand for the Varaxian Confederacy, much less contribute significantly to intergalactic administration. However, what these ancient beings failed to grasp was that the cosmos was evolving at a pace surpassing their deliberate administrative processes. "Conceivably," Krell suggested, rising from his position, "we could contemplate addressing the declassified intelligence briefings concerning Sector 3118. You are aware, the one encompassing the previously unencountered species that is on the precipice of invasion?" The chamber became hushed. Even Ox Prime's viscous structure appeared to become momentarily firmer. "That," the chairperson articulated deliberately, "is absent from the present agenda." Krell offered a grin that revealed just sufficient serrated dentition to cause the Regalian representative to recoil. "I beg your pardon, but I conceive that averting mass extermination might take precedence over deliberating on levies on artificial flavorings." "The species under discussion," interjected Commander Drex Maloran of the Defense Coalition, his external skeleton clicking with annoyance, "is rudimentary. Brief FTL. They have scarcely succeeded in dispatching basic probes past their own satellite. The Dravac Empire has asserted reclamation entitlements to the system." "Reclamation entitlements?" Krell emitted a sound akin to coarse sand in a waste disposal. "They are postulating reclamation entitlements on an inhabited sphere, and not merely any sphere, a Level 12 biodiversity center with over 8 billion conscious entities." "The humans," Drex Maloran stated dismissively, "are fragmented, combative, and technologically insignificant. The Dravac will most likely conserve some for scientific observation." The holographic projection at the chamber's center flickered, displaying a blue-green world with swirling white clouds. Earth, the third planet from a nondescript yellow star, situated in an unexceptional spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. "I have examined them," Krell stated, his tone now gentler. "They are not as you perceive them. They have formulated wholly distinct cultural and technological approaches, their musical compositions alone." "Ambassador Vortex," Ox Prime interjected, "your penchant for scrutinizing undeveloped species is well documented, but the Dravac Empire has adhered to appropriate procedure. The humans possess no interstellar representation, no FTL capacity, and no formal initial engagement under Section 7 of the Non-Interference Charter." A thunderous warning signal penetrated the chamber, prompting several delegates to shield their oral receptors. The holographic depiction of Earth zoomed out swiftly, exposing a colossal Dravac war fleet emerging from hyperspace at the solar system's boundary. "Indeed," Krell commented, observing as the initial wave of assault craft descended toward Earth's atmosphere. "It would appear our deliberation has become moot. It appears we are on the verge of discovering what humans are truly comprised of." Nobody within the council chamber, least of all Krell, was ready for the subsequent events. The incursion initiates. Emperor Vrax Dominus, supreme leader of the Dravac Imperial fleet, was positioned on the command deck of his capital ship, Inevitable Conquest *, his forelimbs folded behind his back. His armored epidermis shimmered beneath the intense illumination as he observed the holographic image showing Earth enlarging with each passing second. An undeveloped sphere, he proclaimed to his bridge personnel, mandibles clicking with expectancy. With abundant resources, a manageable labor pool, and, most significantly, no substantive defenses. His second-in-command, General Zakraxon, revealed his fangs in a gesture approximating a smile among the Dravacs. Our reconnaissance indicates they are still employing chemical fuels and rudimentary nuclear fission. They have not even consolidated their global governance. The command personnel erupted in chattering amusement. A junior officer actually tumbled from her station in mirth. "Silence!" Emperor Vrax's voice sliced through the merriment like a plasma weapon. While this subjugation will undoubtedly be straightforward, the Dravac Empire does not condone self-satisfaction. We shall adhere to standard incursion procedure. He addressed his communications officer. Transmit the capitulation broadcast. Grant them the customary 30 seconds to concede before we commence orbital shelling. Broadcasting on all channels, Your Excellency, the officer confirmed, translating into their 7,117 basic dialects. General Craxon moved nearer to his emperor. Is this transliteration genuinely necessary? They will be articulating proper Dravacian shortly enough. Vrax's inner eyelids narrowed subtly. No, Craxon's obsequious amusement was beginning to irritate his auditory membranes. Standard procedure, General. Even livestock merit the awareness of being guided to slaughter. He paused theatrically. Not that it will matter. Deploy the initial wave of landing craft. Target their most populous regions and military installations. On the display screen, thousands of streamlined, dart-like assault craft separated from the parent vessels and hurtled toward Earth's atmosphere, their protective barriers glowing crimson upon entry. I anticipate complete subjugation within 6 planetary cycles, Vrax stated, already showing signs of ennui. Prepare my palace vessel for disembarkation. Once the opposition is quashed, I desire to personally receive their capitulation. The sensor officer's tone carried an atypical note of bewilderment. We are sensing anomalous energy patterns emanating from the planet's surface. Vrax gestured dismissively. Undoubtedly, they're rudimentary nuclear power sources. Nothing our shields cannot withstand. No, Your Excellency, these are distinct. And there is an additional factor. The humans are replying to our capitulation broadcast. The Emperor straightened, showing mild astonishment. Display their response. The holographic projection flickered, revealing the countenance of a human female with dark skin and resolute eyes. Behind her stood individuals of varied human ethnicities, all attired in military uniforms from diverse nations. This is Admiral Maya Enuin of Earth United Defense, the human proclaimed to the encroaching alien armada. We have only one reply to your ultimatum. The camera panned to show a massive missile launcher opening somewhere in a desert region. Comparable scenes from across the globe. Submarines surfacing, mountain bunkers revealing concealed launch platforms, orbital stations activating. Welcome to Earth, Admiral Enuin stated with a predatory smile. You have selected the incorrect planet. Emperor Vrax's mandibles twitched with annoyance. Charming. Commence the bombardment. He possessed no awareness that the initial wave of Dravac landing craft was already encountering difficulties. What in the 7 infernos is befalling our landing craft? General Craxon growled, observing as the tactical display indicated dozens of red malfunction indicators emerging across the invasion contingent. The tactical officer frantically manipulated his console. Unbelievable! The humans are employing some form of focused electromagnetic pulse weaponry. They are targeting our navigational systems. And on the primary display screen, a Dravac landing craft spiraled uncontrollably, its systems incapacitated by an unseen pulse. Another detonated mid-flight upon impact with what seemed to be a basic jet aircraft intentionally piloted into its trajectory. Suicide maneuvers? Emperor Vrax hissed incredulously. These humans are deranged. Not self-destruction, Your Excellency, the intelligence officer amended tentatively. The human aircraft are unmanned automatons. Vrax's scales darkened with fury. You informed me they were undeveloped. Their comprehensive technology is, Emperor, but they seem to have advanced certain domains beyond anticipation. Their electromagnetic warfare capabilities and drone technology are astonishingly sophisticated. A communications officer interjected, panic palpable in his tone. Emperor, our second wave is reporting substantial ocean-based missile launches. The humans have concealed nuclear-powered submarines throughout their global bodies of water. The display screen shifted, showing hundreds of missiles ascending from the oceans. The majority of the Dravac vessels readily intercepted them with defensive lasers, but the sheer quantity was overpowering some of the smaller craft. A futile exhibition, Vrax stated dismissively, though his inner eyelid twitched nervously. Our shields will... He never concluded the sentence. The missiles, upon attaining specific altitudes, abruptly detonated, not against the Dravac vessels, but in the upper atmosphere. They are not targeting us directly, the science officer realized with apprehension. They are generating an electromagnetic tempest within their own atmosphere. It is disrupting our targeting mechanisms. Beneath this electromagnetic canopy, Earth's military forces were deploying with astonishing coordination. Ground-based laser batteries concealed within mountain ranges and desert installations began firing upward. The discharges were insufficiently potent to penetrate Dravac capital ship shields, but they were causing devastation to the smaller landing craft. Sufficient of this absurdity, Emperor Vrax snarled. Initiate planetary bombardment. Target their most populous urban centers. We are unable to, Your Excellency, the weapons officer confessed. Their electromagnetic interference is impeding precise targeting, and they have deployed thousands of false signals, thermal signatures, and radio transmitters replicating population centers. We cannot differentiate the genuine targets. For the first instance in his military vocation, Emperor Vrax Dominus experienced something unfamiliar slithering up his spine. Uncertainty. Council deliberations. Back within the Galactic Council chamber, bedlam had broken out. The live transmission from the Sol system displayed a conflict that defied all forecasts. The undeveloped humans were maintaining their position against one of the cosmos's most formidable military forces. Order! Chairperson Avex Prime's voice reverberated throughout the chamber, his viscous form shimmering with vibrant hues of command. We shall maintain decorum. The chamber gradually quieted, though the murmurs of astonishment persisted in rippling through the delegates. Ambassador Krell Vortex could not restrain his gratified grin. Well, 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 it would appear our primitive pre-FTL insignificance possessed some resilience after all. Commander Drex Malarin's external skeleton rattled with exasperation. A transient impediment for the Dravac. Their entire fleet has not even been deployed yet. This opposition is merely the terminal convulsions of a condemned species. Terminal convulsions? Krell emitted a sound that reverberated around the chamber. They have incapacitated nearly 30% of the Dravac landing craft and obstructed orbital bombardment, lacking a single faster-than-light propulsion system or energy shield to their designation. The holographic projection shifted, showing a Dravac cruiser severely tilted, its propulsion mechanisms disabled by what seemed to be a swarm of diminutive Earthcraft that had somehow circumvented its shields. The Council is obligated to intervene, proclaimed Ambassador Tala Reed, her bioluminescent markings shimmering with urgency. The Non-Interference Charter explicitly stipulates that mass extermination is forbidden, irrespective of technological status. And who instigated the charter initially? The Regalian representative countered, his compound eyes blinking rapidly. The Dravac Empire. They solely endorse non-interference when it is advantageous. When they desire a planet's resources abruptly, the regulations are inapplicable. A fresh voice entered the discourse. Senator Loxtiel of the Commerce Consortium, his 6 appendages gesticulating wildly. The economic ramifications alone necessitate our engagement. If the Dravac seize Earth, they will control 73% of the galaxy's accessible water supplies. This is not concerning economics, Krell interjected, his tone slicing through the clamor. It concerns fairness. It concerns acknowledging capability. He stood and proceeded to the chamber's core, directly beneath the holographic projection depicting the ongoing conflict. Observe them. Observe what they have achieved. A species that formulated nuclear energy less than a century prior is presently holding off a galactic Tier 3 military power with rudimentary weaponry. And suicidal audacity, sniffed High Counselor Plex Voon of the Ancient Systems. Scarcely the indicators of a sophisticated civilization. Krell's eyes constricted. No, with creativity and versatility. While we have been perfecting the identical technologies for millennia, they have been compelled to conceptualize differently. Their electromagnetic capabilities surpass even the Centauri Federation's. Their drone swarm methodologies are dissimilar to anything in our military compendiums. He gestured to the projection where Earth's forces were now launching what seemed to be thousands of diminutive satellites forming a defensive network in low orbit. They merit the opportunity to join galactic society on their own terms, not as the subjugated subjects of the Dravac. Chairperson Avex Prime undulated thoughtfully. Your fervor is acknowledged, Ambassador Vortex, but the Council cannot proceed without accord. We shall continue observation prior to rendering a decision. Krell's fists clenched at his sides. While you observe, billions could perish. Or, Talarid suggested softly, her gaze on the projection where another Dravac vessel was plummeting from orbit. The Dravac might be the ones requiring our assistance. And humans retaliate. Annihilator! Emperor Vrax bellowed, his forbearance utterly depleted. I desire this wretched planet reduced to cinders. General Craxon hesitated. The Annihilator, Your Excellency? It has never been operationally tested against an inhabited sphere. The energy demands alone would execute it. The Emperor's scales flared vibrant crimson. These humans have disgraced the Dravac Empire for the final time. The colossal Dravac flagship commenced transformation. Its external hull sections shifted, exposing an immense energy cannon that spanned nearly half the vessel's length. Power conduits shimmered with ominous purple luminosity as the weapon accumulated charge. Annihilator at 60% charge, Your Excellency, reported the weapons officer. On the tactical projection, the remaining human orbital platforms were repositioning, congregating around the planet's larger satellite. Earth's surface bristled with energy readings as every accessible power source was being redirected. They are cognizant of what is imminent, Vrax stated with sadistic gratification. Permit them to observe their impending demise. Transmit visuals to all their communication channels. I desire every human to witness their concluding moments. Simultaneously on Earth's surface, within a fortified bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Maya Enuin stood before delegates from every principal nation. The atmosphere was somber but resolute. Project Looking Glass is prepared, announced Dr. Elijah Blackwell, a disheveled physicist whose bloodshot eyes implied he had not slumbered in days. But we are afforded solely one opportunity. Then we shall make it count, Admiral Enuin responded. She addressed the delegates. All nuclear powers have transferred launch authority? Solemn nods across the chamber. All super collider facilities redirected? Additional nods. Then may Providence assist us all. She pressed her palm against the biometric scanner. Execute Operation Mirror Shield. Across Earth, power grids became inactive as every megawatt was channeled into the planetary defense mechanism. In orbit, the clustered platforms around the moon abruptly activated, generating a precisely aligned energy network between Earth and its satellite. On the Dravac flagship, alarms blared. Substantial energy surge from the planet, shouted the sensor officer. They are employing their moon as a form of reflector matrix. Unfeasible, Vrax snarled. Annihilator status? 90% charged, but Emperor, our shields are registering unprecedented stress from whatever they are generating. The display screen revealed a blinding white beam linking Earth to its moon, which then fragmented into thousands of smaller beams directed at the Dravac fleet. Where the beam struck, Dravac shields flared and succumbed. They have weaponized their own star, the science officer realized in terror. They are accumulating, concentrating, and redirecting their sun's radiation via some form of quantum intensification network. Emperor Vrax's mandibles clicked in disbelief. Fire the Annihilator, presently. We are unable. The targeting mechanisms are malfunctioning beneath the radiation assault. Across Earth's surface, millions of individuals observed the sky as the encroaching fleet was methodically targeted by the reflected and amplified solar energy. Smaller Dravac vessels began to detonate or plummet from orbit, while the larger vessels encompassing the flagship strived to sustain their positions. In the command center, Admiral Enuin observed somberly. "Prepare the counter-invasion forces," she commanded. "The instant their flagship shields collapse, I desire our boarding parties prepared." A junior officer looked up in astonishment. "Boarding parties, Admiral? We are to board an alien vessel?" Enuin's smile was frigid as ice. "They desired to witness what humans are comprised of. Let us demonstrate to them intimately." "Emperor! We have multiple hull breaches on decks 7 through 19. The tactical officer's voice had ascended 2 octaves in terror. "The humans they are boarding us." Emperor Vrax Dominus stared at the security feeds in disbelief. Squads of humans clad in cumbersome environmental suits were pouring through the breaches in his flagship, their rudimentary yet effective weaponry incapacitating Dravac soldiers with ruthless efficiency. "How?" he demanded. "How? Their atmospheric craft should be incapable of attaining orbital altitude." General Craxon, who had been monitoring fleet communications, looked up with what could solely be characterized as dread in his compound eyes. "They are employing our own landing craft against us, Your Excellency. The disabled ones we presumed destroyed. They salvaged them, deciphered the control mechanisms, and..." The bridge doors detonated inward in a cascade of sparks and deformed metal. Through the smoke strode a human female, not in an environmental suit like the others, but in what appeared to be a mechanized exoskeleton that amplified her motions and potency. "Emperor Vrax Dominus," Admiral Maya Enuin proclaimed, her voice augmented by her suit's speakers. "I believe this is what my forebears would term a parley." The Dravac guards raised their armaments, but Vrax gestured for them to refrain. "You dare board the flagship of the Dravac Empire? Your impudence surpasses even my most inferior assessment of human intellect." Enuin emitted a chuckle, the sound strangely chilling emanating through her suit's speakers. "Says the prospective conqueror whose fleet is presently being dismantled by an undeveloped species." She gestured nonchalantly, and the human soldiers behind her raised peculiar devices that emitted low hums. "Signal disruptors," she elucidated. "No communications in or out. Merely us, engaging in a cordial discourse concerning your prompt and unconditional withdrawal from Earth's airspace." Around the flagship, the conflict had shifted decisively. The Dravac fleet, already debilitated by Earth's mirror shield system, was now being methodically disabled by squadrons of diminutive, agile Earthcraft. They were not endeavoring to annihilate the alien vessels, they were capturing them. "Commander Jackson reporting from Dravac Cruiser Designation Alpha 6. A voice resonated over Enuin's communication unit. "Engine compartment secured. Engineering personnel are already reverse engineering their FTL propulsion system." "You were accurate, Admiral. It is astonishingly analogous to Dr. Patel's theoretical frameworks." Vrax's mandibles clicked in fury and incredulity. "You seek our technology?" "Among other things," Enuin concurred amiably. "Deem it restitution for the disruption of having to contend with your incursion." "Oh, and we're especially intrigued by your translation matrix. Quite remarkable, truly. Instantaneous cross-species communication." On the bridge display screen, another Dravac vessel capitulated to the human boarding parties. The once formidable invasion force was being methodically subdued, not through annihilation, but through capture. "This is unfeasible," General Craxon whispered. "No species has ever vanquished the Dravac." Anyone concluded for him, there is an initial occasion for everything, and humanity specializes in accomplishing the unfeasible. She raised her mechanized arm, pointing directly at Emperor Vrax. Presently, concerning those capitulation conditions, the Emperor's scales had faded to a pallid, sickly green. The Dravac Empire does not capitulate. Enuan's smile was predatory. I was anticipating you would articulate that. It signifies we are permitted to retain more of your vessels. She tapped her communication unit. All teams, Protocol Omega. Secure all technology and valuable intelligence. Prepare captured vessels for Earth transit. Emperor Vrax realized with dawning horror that the humans had never anticipated him to surrender. They had orchestrated this entirely, not merely to defend, but to advance centuries in technological progression in a solitary, brilliant counteroffensive. Of the repercussions. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so hushed. The holographic projection displayed what nobody had deemed conceivable. The remnants of the once formidable Dravac invasion fleet in complete retreat, with nearly a third of their vessels now under human control. Ambassador Krell Vortex could not restrain himself. He slow-clapped, the sound resonating dramatically through the silent chamber. Indeed, he proclaimed, his amber-flecked epidermis virtually shimmering with gratification. That was enlightening, would you not concur, Chairperson? Avix Prime's viscous form rippled with what might have been annoyance. Ambassador Vortex, this is scarcely the occasion for— Oh, I dissent, Krell interrupted, striding to the chamber's core. This is precisely the occasion. In less than one planetary rotation, a supposedly undeveloped species has not only repulsed an incursion by one of the galaxy's military superpowers, but has also captured sufficient advanced technology to potentially join our interstellar community within years rather than centuries. The projection shifted to show human engineers already at labor swarming over captured Dravac vessels, dismantling, and scrutinizing the alien technology with astonishing velocity and comprehension. By the eternal void, whispered the Regalian representative, they acquire knowledge swiftly. Commander Drex Malaran's external skeleton creaked as he shifted uneasily. This alters nothing. They caught the Dravac unawares with unconventional methodologies. They remain pre-FTL and— A notification chime interrupted him. The projection updated with a fresh transmission from Earth orbit, showing one of the captured Dravac cruisers. Its engines were shimmering with energy, but the hull now bore Earth markings and a hastily painted designation: Humanity's First Step Asterisk. You were articulating? Krell inquired sweetly. Something concerning them remaining pre-FTL? The chamber erupted in pandemonium as the captured vessel vanished in a burst of luminosity, executing a flawless, faster-than-light leap to the edge of the Sol system before reappearing. Unattainable, Senator Lox TL exclaimed. No species has ever mastered FTL technology this expeditiously following acquisition. No species you have encountered prior, Krell rectified. Humanity seems to specialize in the unattainable. Indeed. Ambassador Tala Reed's bioluminescent markings shimmered thoughtfully. The query now becomes, what course of action do we pursue concerning them? The humans presently possess military technology centuries beyond their developmental stage, and they have demonstrated both the volition and capacity to employ it. They have also exhibited astonishing restraint, Chairperson Avex Prime noted, gesturing to another transmission showing Emperor Vrax Dominus and his command personnel being detained in surprisingly humane circumstances. They could have annihilated the Dravac fleet entirely, yet opted for capture over obliteration. Krell grinned, displaying his serrated dentition. Because they are more astute than we attributed to them. Why obliterate what you can scrutinize, reverse engineer, and enhance? The projection altered once more, showing Admiral Maya Enuan, addressing what appeared to be a global human broadcast. Behind her stood delegates from nations across Earth, unified in objective. Today, humanity has entered the galactic arena, she was articulating, not as subjugated subjects, but as equals. And we arrive bearing a message for any who would imperil our world. Earth is shielded. They are positioning themselves as protectors, not conquerors, Tala Reed observed. For the present, Commander Drex muttered darkly. Krell emitted a sound. Oh, come presently. If they desired conquest, they would merely have to threaten to reverse engineer our weaponry and employ it against us. But that is not what they are pursuing, is it? The concluding transmission displayed a fresh communication from Earth. A formal entreaty for diplomatic engagement with the Galactic Council. It would appear, Chairperson Avex Prime concluded, that whether we are prepared for it or otherwise, humanity has joined the galactic community. The sole query that persists is, as companion or adversary? Conclusion. 3 galactic standard months. Subsequently, Ambassador Krell Vortex stood at the observation deck of the Council Station, observing the newly commissioned human diplomatic vessel dock with practiced precision. The streamlined vessel amalgamated Dravac engineering with unmistakably human aesthetics. Functional, versatile, with none of the ostentatious embellishments favored by more ancient galactic civilizations. Admiring your protégés, Ambassador? Tala Reed inquired, joining him at the viewport. Her bioluminescent markings shimmered with mild amusement. Scarcely my protégés, Krell responded, though he could not suppress the pride from his tone. I merely acknowledged their capability prior to the remainder of you. It is a distinction you never weary of reminding us of, she stated with good-natured exasperation. Though I concede their advancement has been astonishing. Integrating captured Dravac technology with their own innovations, establishing a consolidated planetary governance, and preparing a formal delegation to the Council, all within 3 cycles, Krell observed as the human vessel's airlock connected with the station. Do you comprehend what captivates me most concerning them, Tala? It is not their technological versatility or even their military skill. What then? Their paradoxes. He gestured toward the vessel. Observe their ship. They possessed access to Dravac weaponry that could devastate entire continents, yet they have scaled them down, rendered them more precise. They could have constructed warships to intimidate the cosmos, but instead, their initial formal interstellar vessel is a diplomatic craft. Through the viewport, they could observe the human delegation emerging from the airlock. Admiral Maya Enuin, presently Earth's formal ambassador to the Galactic Council, led the varied group of humans. She had exchanged her military exoskeleton for formal diplomatic attire that still somehow managed to convey authority. They terrify the Council, you are cognizant, Tala stated softly. The velocity of their progression, their unpredictability, their resourcefulness. Half the representatives are persuaded they will be the subsequent galactic superpower within a century. The other half conceive it will transpire even sooner. Krell's mouth curved into a grin. And what do you conceive? I conceive they are precisely what this stagnant galactic community necessitates. A reminder that there are invariably novel methods of conceptualizing, fresh approaches to age-old dilemmas. The delegation was nearing now. Krell adjusted his formal garments, preparing to welcome them officially. You are aware, he stated, the Dravac Empire has lodged a formal grievance, demanding the humans return their appropriated technology. Tala's markings flashed with astonishment. The impudence, following an unprovoked incursion. Indeed, Ambassador Enuin's response was memorable. She informed the Dravac representative, and I quote, deem it a down payment on prospective peaceful relations. The alternative was extinction, so in reality, you acquired quite a bargain. They both emitted a sound, drawing inquisitive gazes from passing council personnel. I suspect, Krell continued more earnestly, that humanity will alter everything. Our political landscape, our technology, our very comprehension of what it signifies to be a sophisticated civilization. As Admiral, now Ambassador, Enuin neared. Her gaze met Krell's, and she offered a deferential nod of acknowledgement to the alien who had initially perceived humanity's potential. Prepared to make history? Krell inquired of her as she reached them. Enuin's smile was self-assured but tempered with sagacity. Ambassador Vortex, from what I have gleaned concerning the cosmos thus far, I believe we already have. The query presently is, what transpires subsequently? Krell gestured toward the council chamber doors, which were slowly opening to welcome Earth's first formal delegation. That, Ambassador Enuin, is what renders the future so delightfully unpredictable.